Good afternoon. My name is Donna Thiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show. Thank you so much for being with us here today, Monday through Friday, 1 to 3 p.m. Central, as I get to come home with you in the afternoon. We're at the Gadsden Mall today. Kaylie's going to try to come in. She had to take care of a couple of her clients.
Here I
she just
am.
happened to come back in.
I am
This
here.
was perfect timing. So here comes Kaylie. We've been talking about you if your ears were just a little bit. I wasn't so complimentary as I've been being, though.
Oh.
I said some nasty things about you, Kaylie.
She did not. She did not.
I can't do this. If I had a daughter, it would be this girl right here.
That is definitely the truth.
She's the general manager at the Gadsden Mall and done such an absolute great job. We have a wonderful guest with us right now. His name is a buddy of mine right here. We've been known each other for years.
Long time.
And his name is Randall.
Yep.
He does a lot of stuff. You're with Kairos Prison Ministry. You're also a pastor of a church now.
That's right.
When he called and told me he was pastoring a church, and I didn't sound surprised, did I?
No, you didn't. No.
That's okay. Good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now he's pastoring a church. Has a wonderful wife and
The best.
grandkids.
The best.
Oh,
Oh,
by
my
the way,
goodness.
if you want to watch him be happy, like he's all business minded, he's a businessman, you know. So if you want to watch him, just start like he's doing right now. Mention grandkids.
That's right.
How many grandkids do you have?
I have two. I
Two.
have a grandson who's about to turn 4. His name is Marshall, and I have a granddaughter named Emily, our little redhead. She is about 3.5. So,
3.5.
oh, they are just.
Oh, that's the fun ages.
Oh, that's just a joy.
They
It's
do
just a
nothing
joy.
wrong according to him. Now your kids probably did things.
Oh, they're terrible.
I get it. I get what you mean there. But the grandkids do the same thing that's cute and sweet and innocent.
They do. And they're just such a great source of joy for Lisa and I. And it's just, they do. They bring a smile to our face. We can be having the worst day that there is. And it's like I was telling you before we came on, Lisa will send me a picture or a video of one of them, or I'll do the same for her. And it just changes the whole day. You know, it's just like, yeah, that's what I needed.
I'm so glad to see this because it seems like the world is against family.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like everything goes against it. You know, the whole nature of things. Man and woman get married and they have kids and all. Why do you think we've reached that pivotal point? And can we turn it around?
We can, but you're right about that. You know, if you look at a lot of TV shows, and this has been going on for a while, a lot of the sitcoms will paint the dad as a dummy.
Oh,
As incompetent and incapable, and you know, hopefully that's not the case in most homes. But you know, the world will absolutely, the desire of the world will be to tear the family apart. But
Well, I think, too, society's taken away the partnership and the teamwork it takes to be a family. Because, you know, for me, you know, I'm from Center, so I'm small town, you know, so I understand what it is, the importance of family. But, like, even society, like, we no longer need our partners to depend on because we all feel independent. We all feel, you know, encouraged. And, you know, we just have this part of sense of like, well, I can do it by myself. Well, sometimes, yes, that's great, but you can still lean on your husband and wife. So I feel like that they've taken that support away from it. And like you're saying, TV shows, movies, it glamorizes the acceptance. Like, okay, well, that's okay that you can get married and get divorced and get married and divorced and married and divorce. But it doesn't leave a structure for the kids in the household.
or a man can marry a man and a woman can marry a woman. I mean, it's just out of hand. It's out of control.
It is. We're watching a movie the other night, and so this couple wanted to move out of town, but they asked their kids. It's like the kids had to make the decision instead of them. And so Phil and I looked at each other and I said, our dads were pastors, so we moved around a lot. They never asked me if I wanted to move.
Yeah,
It was just like, get your
this
stuff
is what you're
going.
doing, yeah.
I'm just sitting here thinking about my kids trying to make that kind of decision when they were kids. I mean, my goodness.
It was like a kid, like two little kids,
Yeah.
like 8 and 10 years old or something like that. And this is serious. I mean, they weren't like kidding around with the kids. It's like the kids made the decision whether to move or not.
Well, I think that nowadays, you know, I think that's what happens when you start asking kids. I think that reflects in the school system too. You know, we talk about mental health, and you know, if your kid doesn't want to move, maybe they're just having a bad day, don't want to move, but they go to school and express that, and it could have potentially become, you know, a problem. You know, and like now that pressure's put on the parents how to resolve an issue that really shouldn't been a decision for the kids to make.
But aren't we putting too much pressure on the kids?
Absolutely.
I couldn't have made that decision.
Yeah. I agree. Absolutely. Kids
I
should
didn't
be
want
kids.
to. I wanted to play with my toys.
Well, yeah, kids need to be kids. Kids
Kids,
don't
they
need to be
need to be
making adult
kids.
decisions
Yeah.
at all. Absolutely. Yeah.
But I think that, I feel like that reflects on my generation too. I feel like my generation has failed in that aspect because we have these devices now. So when we're disciplining our children, we're disciplining them like this, or we just, allow it to happen. And I think that that's become a big problem too, as for parenting.
Yeah, too much attention is taken away. The focus is taken away.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, technology does play a big field in that.
Yeah.
Randall is with Kairos Prison Ministry, and I know you've been on the show quite a bit of time, and we've talked about this, and this is just a huge thing in his heart to do. And we've talked several times about what is the link that you think most people, the reason they wind up in prison. What's the common link?
The common link is normally family. It's normally a broken home or a home where the parents are non-participants, fathers who are absent from their home or either absent in the home. You can be in the home and be completely disconnected. And so, that's what I hear in the just multitudes of men that I have talked to and worked with over the years. That it usually stems back to something in the family, whether at an early age or an ongoing thing, and a lot of times it's generational. A lot of guys that I see in prison and in incarceration in the local jails, their parents years before or even days before were sitting in the same cell. And so it's a generational thing. And, I was talking about that the other day at our Ground Zero men's breakfast about that generational curse, as some would call it, where, children see the pattern, they see the standard that the parents set in the home. And that's the standard that they're normally going to set for themselves until somebody in the family line says, no more. It stops here. But that's big to do that because that person has not really had an example in the home to see what that's supposed to look like.
And I'll kind of balance off that just to kind of, my family, it was a broken home. My mom and my dad, my mom was extremely young, too young, got married. And then, there were some issues in that. And then he, passed away. My mom could never find consistency, got remarried, not a great guy, not the nicest. But, it is a generational. My mom's mom, it backs up. But there are opportunities that I feel like in school system, my teachers are who I had to look for, and then now I am where I'm at now. I could have easily been the girl with, 2 or 3 kids, not married, not the same dad, government income, that's the route that I was on. But it takes those teachers to step in if the home's not there. That's why I feel like school systems should be praised a little bit more because it's the teachers that are there. They see that, they wrap their arms around it, and they try to fix it as best they can.
And I think that's another important thing too, and I've heard you talk about this several times. When we meet somebody, we never know what our influence is going to be with somebody
Right.
that you just meet on the street.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in the grocery store looking at the strawberries.
Yeah.
And you may say something that just triggers something that's going to make their life change forever.
The truth is, the world around us is watching us, for an example. We portray to be something. We portray to be a Christian, or we portray to be a good person, or whatever that is. And people are looking to see what that looks like. And sometimes even to be able to say, "Oh no, you're a hypocrite. You're a fraud because you say you're this, but your life, the evidence of your life is not that."
Yeah.
And so the way we walk out our faith, the way we walk out our lives, the way we hold to the standard that has been set in our life or that others have helped us set, it matters more than we understand. There could be somebody halfway across this mall who sees the way you handle this place and it inspires them.
Right.
Whereas if they saw you doing it at a lower standard, maybe that's the standard they then set for themselves. So it matters what people see.
Absolutely it does. And I have to be careful driving though, Randall. Like when I'm going down the road, I'm sorry.
I'm glad to hear that, Mama. Because I know we've been on the road at the same time. I'm so thankful.
But I really have to be
Sorry.
careful. The only thing that I can't control, seems like when I'm driving, is when somebody pulls out in front of me and then they go like really slow and then turn left and I may be making a face. I've gotten better though, because I have to think about, especially when I'm driving Bobby Ledbetter's car and I've got his tag on there, I've got to make sure that it can be like I'm an employee. So that's important when we're in a business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that we learn how to handle things as well. Because, you know, the whole company could be, you may be riding around and get mad at me because I pulled out in front of you and went slow.
Yeah.
And have that Gadsden mall tag on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's seriously, people make
Absolutely.
judgment calls like
Absolutely. On the back of my little car and on the front of my truck that I drive sometimes, I've got a big Ground Zero Men decal.
that.
And you know, they're going to associate my actions and my reactions with that.
They will.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the way, that's just the way it is. But I have gotten better at that.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's a process. Sanctification is kind of what we're talking about. And
Someday I'll make it
it
happen.
is a process. You know, it is. It's absolutely.
But
a
it is so
process.
important we watch what we do, but no, I love to talk about Kairos prison ministry. That was, I got to tell Kaylie this story. Remember when you called and said I wanted to be on your show? And I said talk about it because it was also, you know, a government official with the town he was in as well. So I thought that's what it was going to be about.
Yeah.
And you said no one talk about Kairos prison ministry. He had to have heard me through my voice on the phone. I was like, well, let's get this over with. I had to have had that attitude. And then, but there was something that he said, and really, I had that little snotty attitude, and so I was like, let's hurry. I love Randall. Let's get this over with. But then you said something that
It wasn't really that obvious.
well, I was acting really good because I was ready to get rid of you.
Love
But I'm gonna tell you now,
I
now I love the shows because you set me on the right path. So you said something, and then you said, you know, any of us could be sitting there in prison right now. You could have been hanging out with the wrong crowd. You could have zigged when you should have zagged. I forgot exactly what you said. Man, it
We're all
popped me.
one decision away. One decision
Exactly
away.
what you said. And so, man, that brought me down there a few levels.
Yeah. And you know, and I wish that more people would kind of stop and take that thought process for a little bit, because unfortunately, society as a whole looks at men who are incarcerated in an unfair way. Now, should they be there? I have met very few who say I'm innocent.
Yeah.
They just don't in the places where I go. But society as a whole thinks that once they're there, they should be there forever. That the term correctional facility, that's just a name. They can't be corrected. They can't be restored. They can't be redeemed. When in fact, they absolutely can. And I have seen more than one come out of incarceration and just become not only a productive member of society, I mean impactful in an amazing way. And so I got to, you know, sometime here during the show, I want to tell you a little bit about something that's going on down at St. Clair prison right now that is almost unbelievable. I shared it with my church on Sunday, and they were just wide-eyed and their mouths hanging open, couldn't believe what was happening down there. So that's the state facility where I serve the most, is down at St. Clair. Started serving there on Kairos, and now I just go as a you know, a friend of the church and as a pastor and all those kind of things, and I've got dear friends there. But one of those dear friends, and you've heard me talk about him before, his name's Tommy Plunkett. Tommy, on December 19th, Tommy has been there for 33 years, and he's serving life without parole. But Tommy, about
Never imagine.
15 years ago,
3 years.
gave his life to the Lord. And ever since then has been dedicated to helping men follow Christ in the prison. So, you know, they've got a church down there called
Best
Church.
life they've got in there.
I'm telling you, Church of the Chosen is the name of their church, and Tommy is quick to tell you this is not a prison church. This is a church that just happens to be located inside a prison.
Yeah.
And I go down there on Wednesday nights, and we just worship and we praise, and it's amazing. All led by the guys that live there. None of it's from the outside. But recently,
they made a change down there, and Tommy was kind of the catalyst for this change. So the guys who are like in the church staff, the guys who are like have done real well, they live in what's called the honor dorm.
Mm-hmm.
In the honor dorm, there's no cells; it's like open dorms, and so it's not the Holiday Inn by any means, but it's not the belly of the prison like Luke wrote about in Acts chapter 16, I think it is. Excuse me. So the church has just been continuing to grow, and the camp has just transformed in a way. But there's a dorm there, and it's called M1, and M1 is the most dangerous, the most drug infested, the darkest, most nasty. It's almost unspeakable what that's like. And Tommy set his sights on that dorm. And he and a group of the guys from the church and from our Ground Zero chapter inside the prison volunteered to move out of the honor dorm and move into M dorm to live.
Wow.
That takes
That'd
guts.
be quite a
Yeah.
life change.
Yeah.
Because they knew that that's what it would take to help those men see the light that they need to see, the light of Christ in them. They could go in there and talk about it all day long.
Yeah.
But now they're getting, Tommy and those 40 guys, they're getting to see them live that out day by day by day.
Yeah.
And these guys that I'm talking about, on both sides, from the church side and the other side, they're not there for traffic tickets. The first week they were there, they had 3 stabbings in the dorm that they moved into.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a rough place. But you talk about a man's life being transformed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then him taking and helping others through Christ transform their lives. And then giving up his safety and his comfort and all those other guys doing the same thing for the benefit of men who just soon stab you, look at you. So I was talking to him on the phone the night before last. He calls me about twice a week, and we talk for half hour or so. And he's been on the Ground Zero podcast several times. He calls in, and when his time runs out, he dials back in, and he's just an amazing guy. Anyhow, so he called me and he said, all is well. That's what he always says, it is well. And he's kind of telling me what was going on. He said, the young men here in this dorm are beginning to respond.
Mm-hmm.
They're beginning to see what's going on. They're beginning to see how we walk and how we live, and they're starting to kind of attach to that.
Mm-hmm.
So they began to, Tommy asked permission and got permission to paint the dorm. He said when he went in, there was food stuck on all the walls. There was profanity everywhere. There were very few light bulbs that worked. It was just a dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
But they have painted. They have painted over all the profanity. They have cleaned. They have scrubbed. They put light bulbs in. He said, it's different. And those guys who are living there, who were living there before, they're beginning to see that there's a different way. And he was talking about one guy in particular, and he told me his name. He said, I need you to pray for him in particular because, he's latched on to me and Simp's his cellmate now, and another friend of mine. And he said, now don't get me wrong, this guy's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
He said, and he told me he's dangerous as 7 hells.
Mm-hmm.
He said, but he's attached to us.
Mm-hmm.
And he's starting to kind of see the way we walk. And he doesn't know how to live any other way yet, but he's learning. And he's willing to learn. So that's what's going on down there right now. And so...
But see, it took him to do it.
He was the catalyst. He was the catalyst. When I think about him and when I think about those other guys, I think about their faithfulness, and I think about the faithfulness of Stephen in the book of Acts, Acts chapter 8, I think it is, where he was supposed to be serving in the soup kitchen, and he ended up sharing the story of God and of Jesus from beginning to end with these Jews, and they rejected him and they stoned him to death. But he was faithful to the very end.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Tommy, and that's Simp, and that's Henry, and that's Isaiah, and that's all those guys down there that are faithful to the end. They could get stabbed today,
Well, see, they're even influencing Kaylie and me right now.
Yeah.
You tell us the story.
Yeah.
You know, and I think about it and I think, Lord, I want to be that faithful.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be that faithful.
Yeah.
So there's some really neat stuff happening at St. Clair, and so here in a couple of months, Kairos team is getting ready to go in there, and it's going to be really interesting to see. And so I'm going down there next Wednesday for a gathering down there with an organization called Prison Fellowship. It's a different organization, and they do like classes and academies and things like that inside the prison. So I'm excited.
Well,
What's
I mean,
going
we
on
get
there?
used to being in our own box.
Mm-hmm.
It's safe in here. It's nice and warm. It's not raining. I got my umbrella. I can, whatever. But we're safe inside that little box. And sometimes God says, "Why don't you do something else?"
Yeah.
And I go, "God, I don't want to do anything else. I'm really
I
happy.
like my box.
I'm happy here. I got it going on here now. I don't want to shake anything."
Yeah.
Like when COVID hit.
Mhm.
I thought that was the worst thing that ever happened to me when I had that. It was having asthma.
Yeah.
Thought I was dying. Wound up being one of the best things that could ever. God moved me out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, because we're resistant sometimes to move out on our own, or even at His urging of the Holy Spirit. Sometimes go, get out of there. But we resist that,
Yeah.
But the truth is, if we will follow that urging, we'll follow that leading of the Holy Spirit. Man, what He has for us, the things that He will put before us, and the impact that we can have on a society and a world that needs some serious Jesus impact.
Yeah.
It's just,
So I see you as being a cheerleader for other people. Even when you were in office, you were just that way. I mean, just Randall being Randall, cheerleading other people on.
I love people.
And so you're doing that. I mean, you're helping so many people that you probably won't even know until we're all in heaven.
Yeah, and that's good. That's the direction that the Lord has taken me. That's the gift that He's given me, is that tremendous love for other people. And so, man, I'm just happy to be faithful and see what He does with it.
Okay, so let's talk about family members. Who can give their family members. Oh, wait. We need to go into a commercial break first.
Already?
And then already. And we'll be right back in just a minute. Nobody hang in there, okay?
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger. Any clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdy.lawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018.
We're back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, from 1 to 3 p.m. is Central, by the way, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. You can find us on television, North Alabama, channel 182 on Charter Communications. You can also find us worldwide on Abundance Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast. You knew about the podcast, didn't you?
I think I do.
Yeah, the newscasters.com.
Yes, we talked about that last time.
Yeah, but if you get your feelings hurt, don't watch that one, okay? I'm a little lighter than most people, but I'm going to tell you what, they speak the truth. And we need that now. I am so tired of people, they want to say something to make you feel better.
Yeah.
I don't want to feel better. I want to know what I'm doing wrong and correct me on it so I can move on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that the way it should be?
It is. It
you know,
is.
like you do me, Randall.
Yeah.
No, it's what friends do, right?
It absolutely is. Absolutely is. You know, there's not enough truth in the world, unfortunately, and it's something that I think that's a lot of the reason why we are where we are. Is people are afraid of the truth because sometimes the truth hurts. Sometimes the truth is painful.
But I can't grow unless I know what the truth is.
There you
know?
go. There you go.
If you got any ambition to yourself at all, you want to know that.
Yep.
So you can move, because sometimes I can't see for the forest and the trees.
So. Yeah, we've got a little podcast too, our Ground Zero podcast that we do live on. We do it live on Facebook and streamed across social media, and our motto on our Ground Zero Man to Man is real talk, no BS, and that's just the way we approach it, and we talk about some really touchy subjects sometimes, and usually it's all related biblically, and we talk about how Scripture relates to the subtopics that we have, and sometimes people get their feelings hurt, but that's okay.
That's okay. They'll remember it later.
Yeah, the truth only hurts when it touches sin.
Well, I figure you don't think much of me as a friend if you don't give me the correct way to do it. You know?
Yes.
Okay, before we went into a break, I wanted to talk about, because everybody's had family members that have been incarcerated before, and sometimes when the person comes back, we do this little snooty thing, like I did when the first time that Randall was on the show, where they're never going to change. They're going to do that. I give him 2 weeks, he'll be back in prison again. I mean, I have actually seen church people say things like that.
Yep.
That is, in my mind, that is the absolute worst thing you can say if you're trying to help somebody.
You're writing them a prescription for failure is basically what you're doing. And I get it, I get it. Because so many of these folks have been living in addiction or living in this cycle of incarceration for years, and maybe most of their lives. And so it takes a long time to build that history, but like we've talked about before, we have to give them an opportunity to write a new history.
Yeah.
To show us that they've I hate the term turned over a new leaf, but that they have seen the light and that they really have a desire to live a different life.
But where you were raised, the place you were raised, you watched your parents and they did weird things. I mean, it's all you know. I mean, I had parents too like that, but so it's all you know. Even though my dad was in ministry, it still was a weird life.
Sure.
But like you said, I had friends, their mothers, and their parents, and I would see a difference. I would think, it doesn't have to be that way when you grow up. I mean, you can have a different life.
But we're sometimes we're quick to give up on people.
I can't because I just know that anybody can change.
And Lord, I'm that way to a fault.
Yeah.
And it has cost me so many times
They do.
money and time and all that stuff. But it's just, that's just who the Lord has made me to be, is that person who's, I'm going to stick with you. I'm going to stick with you. And, I've told you about, my friend Gary Cootie, who I've known for about 7 or 8 years now, that I met in DeKalb County Jail. And, I stuck with him. And some other people stuck with him, and now he's nationally certified as a counselor and state certified and as a accountant. And he was a math maker and a math head till he was 42 years old.
But think about
But
where
he made that
was,
decision.
though.
He made that decision, and he told me, and I think I shared this with you before. He told me, on into his success, he said, all I needed was somebody to believe in me. I just needed somebody to say, I believe you can do this. So, and I think that's, if you've got a family member in incarceration, that support is more valuable than we have any idea. I talked to a guy last night in the DeKalb County Jail, and he is like, I don't have anybody. My wife separated from me when I got in here, and my parents won't have anything to do with me and all that. And I gave him one of my cards, one of my Ground Zero cards, and I said, when you get out, you call this number. And so hopefully he will. But that support from family members is huge. It's one thing for one of us to support somebody, but family is family. Family is who you're supposed to always be able to go back to. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta believe it. I mean, you just have to. But then you gotta remember too that they've seen you with lampshades on your head. They've seen you at your very, very worst now.
Sometimes it's learned behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I'm so thankful that my that Lisa and my 3 boys didn't follow my early footsteps. They never saw me with a lampshade on my head. I'm not saying there was never a lampshade on my head, but I'm just saying they didn't see that, but they didn't see me at my best either. And I was really grateful that they set a standard for themselves that was above what I set for them in their early years.
Because you always want your kids to do better than you.
Absolutely.
Always.
Absolutely. And I've shared this with you too before. The standard I set for them, and it was very simple. Be an honorable man. Be an honorable man. And if you'll be an honorable man, so many other things will work themselves out. So.
That's true.
Yeah.
Now, you are also pastor of a church.
I am.
I wasn't a bit surprised when I found out. So where's the church?
The church is at Sandrock, Alabama. It's Sandrock Methodist Church, and I've been there since November. Of course, I've been in ministry for years, but this is actually my first step into pastoral ministry. And I love it. I love it. And the folks at Sandrock are just amazing and wonderful and faithful, and just, they have just accepted Lisa and myself as family. We're part of the family. And the church is growing still. We have lots of older people in the church to provide wisdom and guidance, and then we've got younger families, and we've got babies, and we've got children, and
That's
it's
good. You
just-
got a good mix.
Oh, it's just amazing. You know, I was talking with a friend of mine over in Marshall County, who took a church right after I did, kind of similar situation, and he was telling me about my church, and I started telling him about Sand Rock. He just got quiet, and he said, "You hit the church lottery, didn't you?" I was like, "I absolutely hit the church lottery." So we got a lot of great stuff going on. You know, we just cranked up 2 weeks ago. We started back up our Wednesday night children and youth services, and we have men's studies and women's studies and youth studies and kids studies and games and food, and so we have a great time on Wednesday nights.
I think that's a great thing too, because everybody gets you get a different perspective depending on your age.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really cool. This is one of the fun things about our Wednesday night stuff. So it's a small church. We've got about 50 active people there, maybe a few more. But so in a small church, you kind of have to do things a little different sometimes. So the way we do our Wednesday nights is it started out on the 10th, and the ladies in the church who have a study that they're doing, they taught the children and the youth.
Mm-hmm.
And the men, we did our Kingdom Men Rising study. Then last week, the men taught the kids and the youth, and the women did their 1 year through the Bible study. So we alternate. So that means
That's good.
we
I like that.
we as
Yeah.
men and dads get to have input into the children
Mm-hmm.
as well as
That's
the ladies.
really, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a good balance.
I don't think I've ever known a church to do that.
You know, we
That's a
actually
good
came up with that plan over lunch at the Mexican restaurant in Leesburg. One Sunday before I actually became the pastor, we started just brainstorming, and we were like, "Well, what about this plan?" And they were like, "That's a great idea," and it is so good. It is so good. But you know, we've got faithful people. We have faithful people.
And your church, what road is your church off of?
It's off of County Road 83.
So is it past the school, before the school?
If you're coming from Leesburg,
Mhm.
it's right past the school.
Right past the school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you get to the four-way stop,
Mm-hmm.
right past the school, if you look to the left, you'll actually see our new sign. We just put up a big new shiny sign,
Okay.
and you can see the church there. We've got a beautiful little sanctuary. We've got a life center, a gym where we can have events, and that's where we have our kids
Well,
night
that's
out.
cool. Yeah.
Once a quarter, we have a thing called Kids Night Out, where kids from all over, wherever they want to come from,
Yeah.
can come, and we have food and games and stuff like that. So,
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
yeah, we're really trying to impact the community for the Lord.
And I could. You need to know his wife, Lisa.
Oh my goodness!
So she's gonna come next time, right?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I've been
We can
Nikki's
bring.
been her on
Yeah,
the
she
show
can come
for
on the show.
years.
Why not?
Yeah,
We want to marry her.
I have invited her a time or two, and Lisa, I would love for her to, because I've told you before, she is so wise. She is just so precious and wise.
She's the woman behind the man.
Oh man, I'm telling you, I would be a puddle of water without her. That's just. I'll ask her though. That would be great.
Yeah,
because
that would be cool,
she would
yeah.
be a good addition. She's something else.
And I love that. You don't see this in television. I mean,
How long have y'all been married?
22 years.
22 years. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah. We she had a previous marriage and had a couple of boys from that, and I had a previous marriage and I had a son that lived with me from that, and when we put that mix together, it was just perfect, and
Yeah.
God has just bonded that together, and it's just blessed us so
That's
richly.
awesome.
well, how do you make it? Because you guys have a great relationship, and Phil and I do too. You and your husband do too. But how do you keep it together when you got the world just kind of? That's not what the world wants.
Our favorite thing to do is to be together. Our favorite thing to do is husband and wife. And it doesn't matter if we're sitting on the couch, doesn't matter if we're driving in a car down the road, doesn't matter. That's our favorite thing to do, is to be together. And of course now, it's to be together with our family around us as our family grows and all that. But we talk, she helps me to see when I'm being a man.
That was a very wise choice of words.
You knew that. It's something most women all know.
Well, I did this thing several years ago based on an event that I went to, and I wrote this 5-day, and you've probably seen it on Facebook before. It's a 5-day thing that I post occasionally on social media, and it's how to completely understand your wife.
Yeah.
which is almost unbelievable. But one of the
Be
things,
careful. She's probably going to listen to this entire broadcast.
one of the things that it says in that is to give your wife permission to speak into your life. Give her permission to speak into the blind spots where you're blowing it, where you're missing out, where you're missing the mark. Let her tell you about those things without being defensive.
Yeah, I can agree with
Because
that.
guys can get defensive.
Oh, I was terrible at it. I used to get so mad because I was like, no, I'm not doing that. And now she tells me something, I'm like, yeah, God, I'm so sorry.
See, it's the opposite at our house. So,
Yeah.
like, my husband, he's perfect. He'll drive me a little crazy sometimes, but it's just his normal stuff and everything. I'm usually the one that he's trying to, like, teach me, and I'm getting defensive. Like, no. I'm always like, I'm perfect. I did this. Well, I did that. And so, but it's a great balance. But when you say, like, what do you do as a couple, like, always together, like, that's kind of like, I didn't really think about it when you said it, but I was like, we do everything together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's very, very, very extremely rare that you would ever see one without the other. Now, he goes to the gym all the time. I counterbalance with my projects at home. So that's where our separate is. That's his, personal space, and my home and work stuff is my personal space. But for the most part, 99% of the time, we're always together. We never make a decision without each other's input. And he just lets me do what I want. I guess that's what makes me happy. Is I don't really, I ask for forgiveness
wants
and
you to
permission,
be
but but yeah, I didn't really think about it till you said that. But yeah, we're always together, and it's not a sense of you get an annoyance or a negative feeling about being together. Like, we enjoy being. We don't want to do it like
That's us.
we're not going on a trip without each other. No, why? My husband can't come. Why not? We're a diamond. We're a package deal.
That's good. I can't imagine going on a cruise without him. I like you, Kaylie. We're friends and all this kind of stuff. But if you want to get a bunch of girls together, I just don't want to go.
I'll get homesick. I'm like, no.
No, I'm tired of you,
kinda,
Kaylie.
It's
I
like
want
a
to feel.
safety and a security thing. But yeah, no, he's definitely the home part for me.
Yeah.
So
That's a great thing. This reminds me of my grandparents. My grandparents, both sets had been married forever, And so one set had been married 67 years when my granddad passed away. And so, but what we noticed about them, you could be sitting at the breakfast table. I loved sitting at the breakfast table with them. So much fun. So he would say something, he wouldn't finish the sentence, she would answer it, and my brother and I would go, what did they just say? And my grandmother would say, that means we have a happy marriage.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I would say, and I was young, I didn't know what she was talking about. And I said, but you don't even know what he said. She said, I do know what he said. And he knows what I said too. So and when you can, and I used to laugh and make fun of that. Now that is the best marriage you can possibly have, because my son and daughter-in-law will say, do y'all ever finish sentences? That's it does. And I'm like,
yeah,
bingo.
But here's the thing about that, Donna, and this is so important. I want to make sure that we hear this. Patterning that kind of marriage, having that kind of marriage in the home, your children see that. You're teaching them how to have a marriage even when they're children. And that was one of the things that Lisa and I were very intentional about in our marriage when our kids were younger, was making sure that what they saw was what we wanted them to have later on. And sometimes that involved letting them see us disagree, but then also letting them see how we worked that out.
Yeah, and I want to bounce off that. That's extremely important, because that's what we do. It's very rare that our kids see us bicker, but if they happen to bicker, they see it, and then they do openly. Like, I'll say, well, I was upset with Daddy because Daddy did this. I said, but this is how we did it. We're very open to that. And like our kids, they're my stepkids, and so me and their mom, like, this happened like 3 years ago. I'd posted something, and I was so excited, and she was like, oh, I wanted to post it, but we allowed, before we talked about it in front of them, so they got to see the co-parenting and how that communication is. And we do, like, a lot of people, it saddens me when I see people that co-parent, and they're like, how do y'all do that? Like, how does that work? I'm like, what do you mean? How does it work? Like, and we're adults. There's 4 of us. So there's 4 adults, and we should all get along. There's nothing, because at the end of the day, it makes my life better. It makes their life better. And the kids really do. We do sports, and like we take turns doing this and back and forth. It's all the time. If I wanted to call and say, hey, I want the kids an extra weekend. And she's like, okay, that's fine. You can have an extra weekend. There's no ifs, ands, and buts. There's no, well, know this and know that. And that's not a conversation at all.
And the kids are the winners.
Yes.
The
and
kids
the
are
kids
the winners.
and the kids will tell you how much,
That's so
like they
awesome.
talk about, like, you know, how much they love us and things like that, and they share their love. Like, it is very much, but they get something from each. We're all four different, but they get a little bit of everything. But when there's a game, we're all four there. If there's a birthday, we're all four
And nobody
there.
has to feel nervous.
There's no
that the whole-
separate, there's no nothing. Like, for example, my daughter, and I'll move on. My daughter, we had a birthday party, the tree house. We rented one right here across the water at River Rocks. And me and Mom, we hosted it. We stayed together overnight with them. Like, we had our own conversation, our own little bubble. That's how it should be. It should never be one parent and it's just a rule in our house. Like, if we disagree with maybe something they do, it'll never be a conversation in our house. It'll be a conversation between me and him outside of our home, because we don't bring that into our home, because it is once you bring it in, that the negativity part, it will start to stick to your house, and it'll be in your home. So every time you come in, that negativity is there because you left it there. And so like that's always been a thing. Like, do not bring it into the house.
I think
But-
that's
You sure are wise for a young person.
I told you were going to I told you you were.
It took me a lot longer than you did. But I'm a man.
I hear you say it. But
that
it
is
is
so
true.
good.
It is true. If you come into your home and you're angry and you've had a bad day or anything, if you can't resolve it and you've brought it in, it's going to hang there. So the next day when you come home, it's still there. It's still sitting on that plate. So you need to clean that plate off, put it in the trash, and be done with it. Because it is. Just like when people say don't go to bed angry, I think that's very true. We might disagree, and we might still disagree tomorrow, but we're not going to be mad at each other. So there's a difference in disagreeing and being angry with each other.
Because kids they'll pick up on that.
Oh yeah.
And they'll say, well, they didn't speak to each other today.
Yeah.
You know, well, then they're going to have a marriage like that too if they're not careful.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And my kids, the last thing my husband wants me to do is come home and be like, your daddy was mean to me, because them kids will beat him up. They will like, oh, say you're sorry. They're definitely my team. They're a mess.
That's great, because and there's so many women who do this. I throughout the year, and I'm a woman, but I was going to tell you, women sometimes, if you got an ex-husband, just like you were talking about, and you are just going to just automatically disagree because he has something he wants to do with the kids next weekend when it's actually your weekend. Swap. It's not that big of a deal.
Exactly what we do. It's just swap. It's just communication. That's exactly what it is.
And the kids are just like, whew.
Yeah.
I mean, they're so relieved that you'll do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, and this is also good, unfortunately, that's not the norm in today's society. You know, it's just, it should be. If people would really focus on.
Well, if kids come first, like they
there
should
you go,
be.
there you go. Then it would look like what yours looks like.
Yeah.
And it would look like what ours look like, and what yours look like. Because, you know, you hit it on the head.
Yeah.
We're adults.
Yeah. And that's what it is.
Let's act like adults.
And you know, it can be a behavior thing too. Like I can be a 0 to 100 back to 0 very fast. And there's things that we do. We're very open to disagree. But sometimes as an adult, like, instead of reacting, just go take a walk. Go outside. 3 or 4 minutes, think it through, because you got to pick your battles. It's not a battle worth picking. It's not worth being angry. It's okay. It's not a big deal.
Well, my
It's
granddad
not.
always said this. He would say, because he was a businessman too.
Yeah.
And he would say, any decision you got to make, don't make it yet.
Yes.
Whether you're angry at your spouse or whether it's a business decision you've got to make in your business world.
Yeah.
Don't do it yet.
Yeah.
Count backwards 100.
Yeah.
And then he said, "Now you're gonna be one when you grow up, and you don't want to spend money. All
Yeah.
y'all women do." And
Yeah.
I actually
We can do
don't
it
like
easily.
to.
It's
Yeah,
the
but I
easiest
don't
thing we
like
can
to
do.
shop. I'm that odd. I really don't like to
Oh.
shop. If I want a black skirt, I go get a black skirt, and I'm out of there.
You buy, you don't shop.
Yeah.
That's a man thing.
I'm outta here.
That's right. That's so
But it's
good.
really important. He said, so when you get married and you decide you want an expensive purse or something like that, he said, you go home before you buy that. You think about it first. Then if you still want to buy it the next day, go get it. He said, that's what I tell Sybil, my
Yeah.
grandmother. And he'd say that's what she always does. Sometimes she'd buy it and put it in the car and act like she
Driving around for a day with a receipt. Oh my
No,
goodness.
she was pretty good. But it was just, it's sharing things. It's, you know, it's like making decisions together and about, yes, both sets of kids. It's about making decisions for all of them.
Yeah.
And no step kid should feel like a step kid.
No. Mm-mm.
No, there should absolutely not be a difference. And yeah, and I get it. Blending a family can be difficult. There are challenges. There are absolutely challenges. But if you're committed to that, and if you're committed to that family, if you're committed to success in the marriage and in the family, you meet those challenges. You figure out how to be the adults. You figure out how to have those hard conversations, and you put the children first. And most times, if you're doing that, the other stuff's going to work itself out. It's going to work itself out.
Now, there's something else that you've told me you guys do. You read the Bible together, but you also pray together.
We do pray together. Yeah. The pastor that married us, we actually went on a marriage retreat with our church before we got married. It was like right before we were going to get married, and we had been dating a little while, and so we went over to Gunnersville to the lodge over there, and Lisa and I had separate rooms and all that, but we were going to these things. And he said something. He told me then, he said, when you get to the point of your marriage, tell both of us this, that you start to pray together, your marriage will change.
Yeah.
It'll change. And I was like, well, okay. And didn't think much about it at the time, but when our marriage got to that point, it changed. It did. It changed. There was a bond there, a new bond there that had not been there before. And it was amazing. And Mark Lacey was his name, and he was exactly right. He had that wisdom. And so anyhow, yeah, I recommend it highly.
It definitely works. Less than 2 minutes in this segment. What would you like to tell the folks before we go?
Oh my goodness, go to church on Sunday.
Unless we got eyesight. I'm sorry, I just had to say that. If there's eyesight on the road, you don't want me driving the car. I might hit your church.
Don't drive near Donna if you're headed to church. I think it all comes down to two things, and this is what pops into my head. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, your mind, and your soul. And love your neighbors as yourself. If you love your neighbors as yourself, can you imagine what this world would be like?
Yeah.
If we all loved our neighbors the same way we love ourselves.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's what I got for today.
Set yourself where they've set.
There you go. There you go.
You helped me do that with Kairos Prison Ministry, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's what friends are for.
It
Kaylie,
is.
anything you'd like to say before we go?
Bring your business to Gadsden. No, I just want to thank Donna for letting me be on the show. It was really nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you
There was
too.
a lot of wisdom going on here. That was great. But no, if as far as Gadsden Mall, if you're interested, first time business or unsure, or if you've got a business for 20 plus years, just give us a call at 256-547-0501.
Yeah, because she's been where you've been. She's actually,
Yes.
retail there, just like you have. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate it. See you next time.
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors, and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018. The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462.
My Towels solved the problem that we've all had with towels. You go into the stores and they feel lotiony and soft, but then you get them home and they wind dry you. That's why I made My Towels. They actually work, they're soft, and they absorb. And now I'm excited to announce 2 brand new lines of My Towels. What makes them the best towels ever is they're now made with 100% long staple Shapir cotton. This is a combed ring spun cotton that makes My Towels even softer and more absorbent than ever. And now you get a 6-piece set for an amazing introductory sale price as low as $29.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get My Towels for only $29.98. Or you can get my designer premium line for just $20 more. Either way, you save 50% now on all My Towels. They actually work. What a concept. This offer won't last long, so please order now.
MyPillow.com.
At Liberty Bank, we're all about community. Whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need, toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.